welcome to New Meta, a Dota 2 podcast. I am your host Dan, but on the interwebs, I go by the name The Magic Tea. And joining me, as they always do, is Marco and Adam. Lads, it's 7.21. New era, new patch, new Dota. Are we excited?
I am cautiously optimistic.
I'm positively thrilled.
I'm ready to get run over by some melee heroes, let's just put it that way.
Ready to get run at by some 500 move speed heroes.
Yes, Finn and Ursa. I'm ready.
Yeah, and everyone else. All the melees. You won't be getting run at by any ranged heroes, though.
Not even Enchantress.
And Marco, you still scrolling through the patch notes, or what's happening?
So Underlord's got his base movement speed increased by 5. That's interesting.
Down to you, that's good.
Down to the U.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So, also worth mentioning, this is the first podcast we're recording while we're live on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify.
Bit of SoundCloud, bit of Twitter.
Bit of SoundCloud, Twitter, at New Meta Podcast. Flame us, follow us, talk to us. But enough of that noise, because we're not here to talk about Twitter. We're here to talk about 7.21. A new era. 720 is done. It's dusted. The season is over. Vlad's has a recipe. It's all change. Are we happy to see... Before we start talking about 721, are we happy to see 720 go? Has its time come?
Is 720 what came out immediately after TI and it's lasted this long? It feels like it's been much shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but yeah, I guess 720E is the most recent.
There have been a lot, yeah.
There have been some numbers, yeah.
So as a little recap, at least for myself, 720 started off with, it was the 5 Wraith Bands patch, and then it became the 4 Wraith Bands and 3, and now I think we've normalized it 2 again, right? That's 7.20.
2 to 1, yeah. 2 to 1 Wraith Bands. As we went up in letter, we got 1 Wraith Band less.
Yeah, that's literally the patch summarized right there. Every letter added is 1 Wraith Band gone.
Yeah. What letter are we up to now?
Unless you're Skywrath, then you can still do 5 Null Talismans. But that's...
Okay. Cool. Insider knowledge. Skywrath metagame solved in 7.21. Still going 5 nulls.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I haven't played them yet, but I think it's still probably super solid.
Yeah. I mean, I can say that this patch for me started on a great note. Open the patch notes. Standard early game procedure of Control F Meepo. Feeling great. 10 move speed. First thing I read. Buzzing. Then scroll to the top to do it properly, I suppose. See what else is going on that I don't really care about. First thing is this primary attribute change that's crushing stat buyers, and suddenly my Geomancer is crushed. So that was a roller coaster of emotions just in the first 30 seconds of opening the patch notes.
That reminds me of, wasn't it 720 the patch notes came out and Meepo got changed a third bit, and the immediate response was, oh, this hero's in the shit. But then, like, in a matter of days, his win rate in PUDs was like 60 plus.
Yeah,
that was quite funny.
Yeah, I wasn't the only Meepo player that thought he was trashed by those changes that turned out to make him the most OP hero ever.
Turned out Shared Lifesteal was pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it turned out as a decent spell.
Yeah, it's so funny how so many people can be wrong.
Yeah. But even now, you don't really know.
Yeah,
people refresh the like Dota buff trends, but
yeah,
you don't really know until probably like 2 weeks in, you start to get a really good idea of some heroes that are very strong. And then it takes even longer for the heroes that become good because they counter the heroes that are directly buffed and all that wacky stuff.
Yeah, that happens loads.
So this is a patch review podcast. We were planning to do something else today, but
Gaben had other plans, right?
Gaben had other plans, and everything goes out the window when the patch notes drop.
Yeah.
Like the Dota world goes on hold, the coordinator crashes, and you're forced to scroll through patch notes like it's the Bible.
Millions of hours of work productivity are lost.
Yeah.
People, I know it happened with me.
So podcast normal topic, move to tomorrow, we hope. So we'll just going to run through these changes. like every other Dota personality and content creator out there. This primary attribute change is the biggest change in the patch, I think. Most people think, and it's right at the top of the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, it's affecting everyone, every hero.
And it affects stat heroes and stat buying the most.
Yep.
Which heroes do we think then are going to do well and bad from this? I mean, I'll just say off the bat, stat buying heroes are nerfed. OD is nerfed. That's why OD's dropped in win rate, even though it's not because of his tiny Sanity's Eclipse nerf. It's because his spell amp's going to be reduced drastically, his mana's going to be reduced quite a lot. Well, not drastically, 25%, but considering he buys Kaya 4-star items like this...
His damage output is a function of his mana pool as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so it's like a double whammy negative.
It's pretty direct, yeah.
All strength heroes are going to have less HP. All edgy heroes are going to have less armor and less attack speed, and all intelligence heroes are going to have less mana / spell amp. That affects some heroes. It affects some heroes more than others. Like for someone, just to get ahead of ourselves a little bit, like Ursa, he doesn't care about armor and attack speed because he's got overpower. So
yeah,
he's in line for a pretty decent little meta share, I think. But some other heroes, like we said, OD or Meepo, they're kind of more rely on the stats.
Even those position 4 and 5 strength heroes that you saw, or I feel like I saw, and they'd have a couple braces and be 1.8k HP 10 minutes in the game, and you'd kind of raise an eyebrow and be like, oh, this feels kind of rough. Say you Sven on the 4 or 5, or even Tusk when he gets a bracer gets real beefy, or Earth Spirit gets real beefy.
Spirit
like Elder Tighter, or I never saw a Spirit Breaker, but these kind of chunky heroes that you could see on a 4 or 5, it's nice that they won't be as chunky.
Yeah, casual stats are a little bit worse. These agi heroes that buy casual Yasha.
And I think
race.
Casual stats is definitely more impactful, particularly for the lower positions for, say, strength heroes in those positions than, say, the int guys, because a bigger mana pool really doesn't do that much.
It affects like the laning.
A little bit.
Using a certain number of spells in the lane. But later in team fights, it's really negligible.
Yeah, team fights doesn't make a difference. And I think if you watch replays of nearly any kind of pub game, you'll see position 4 and 5s with plenty of mana to be used because people just don't use spells. So, whereas HP, that is very much more tangible.
Use spells.
I'd like to see more intel heroes in play, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's when I first read over this changelog. I kind of thought we were going to go more towards caster, int casters when I first read it. Now I'm
You're
on
wrong,
the fence.
basically.
But I just figured there's going to be less strength, less HP overall. And I was just thinking, with the Vlad, like the tower armor and the Vlad's changes, and like it's not so much. I wouldn't say 720 was super deathball-y, but it did have a grouping up aspect to it, which kind of affects casters and assassins in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe with people having lower health pools and like the game going a little bit longer would generate itself to more of a spellcastery.
Yeah, I'd agree, and I'd kind of like to see that as well.
And with I guess also Crimson getting changed, and I mean it's a small nerf, but it seemed kind of the auras are getting a little bit touched up in the 721. Yeah, just go from less brawly to more spell brawly.
Yeah, spell brawly would be a nice change. Obviously, brawl is still going to be very much the core philosophy, I hope. Well, that's what I expect from you all in party games. We're brawl in minute 2.
Yeah. Well, and I thought that it was going to go more caster heavy, and then I just see these melee heroes with all this move speed.
The move speed has just counteracted that, and the movement speed changes are pretty significant.
Yeah, should we just go there now? Because the movement speed is...
That's definitely the next big point.
Outside of the primary attribute change, I think the movement speed changes are the most impactful set of changes on this changelog for sure.
Because loads of Intel heroes, most of them are going to get slight movement speed nerf as well. And then they've now got these strength heroes that can literally run and hit, and you can't get away unless you spend 500 gold on boots, and it's like, who's got that much gold? So that counteracts.
Along with the movement speed changes, since they are all on melee heroes, and the boots, the phase boots and treads swapping back. It's hard to say. It's hard to keep track of when you say swap back. Goes back to old phase boots, new phase boots. I mean, there's so many iterations. But going back to the blades of attack phase boots, I feel like it's going to be huge. It goes so well. The chainmail going with the blade of attack into phase boots works so well on these melee cores, and then the fact that they got more movement speed, it's just everything a melee core wants. Is like, I get 6 armor and 20 damage, and I get to have super speed.
Yeah, it's the dream.
It's going to be really interesting. I think those changes alone just make Lifestealer an actual hero again.
Yeah, certainly the move speed changes in the short term, while people still figure out the implication of the slightly more deep attribute changes. People still will take a little bit more time to work those ones out, but the move speed changes are obvious, so it just makes it so much easier to play these heroes. Being kited, if you're thinking about heroes like Sven and Ursa, is that much harder. I mean, I tested it earlier today. Sven is literally 550 move speed with Sanjin, Yasha and Warcry.
At level 1?
He's 550 move speed at level 1.
I heard 350.
Nah, 550 with Sanjin, Yasha and Warcry. And phase active, and 520 or 525 with either phase active or Warcry. I mean, it's so fast, it's crazy.
Yeah, Ursa with just phase boots active is 460.
Yeah.
With just phase boots active. Nobody can really touch that or keep up with something like that. And now Legion Commander is faster than Enchantress without boots. What happened to my Sproink?
That's the whole point of Ench, is that you're so fast.
Yeah. I mean, she's a deer. How is like a warrior faster than a...
With massive armor as well.
Yeah.
Anyone else worth mentioning with these move speeds? I mean, Sven and Ursa are the big ones. They also did 10 for a few other heroes, Alchemist, Dragon Knight, Meepo, and then 5 for some other ones we don't really care about. 5 for Monkey King is like kind of... It's not really relevant, but Monkey King is a hero that loves move speed so much, especially with his weird ranged melee attack. If you can, it's just that a little bit easier to get Jingu. But obviously 5 is very small.
5 is like a welcome change. I mean, you're not going to like complain about getting 5 movement speed. I mean, it's going to feel a little bit better for Underlord. Naga Illusions could be kind of cool to do with the 5 extra. And Nyx being in Vendetta, I'm sure he certainly likes that with bonus move speed.
Yeah.
I feel like the flashy ones are the plus 15 though.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Lifestealer right now. And
Lifestealer is enabled so hard.
It's just like the phase boots is what he wanted to build in the past anyways. He's going to get old phase boots. The double blade of attack phase boots was 24 damage.
Yeah.
But now I feel like it's worth it with these phase boots. It's like you trade off 4 damage because melee heroes now get 20. So it's really, you're only trading 4 damage for 6 armor. And that's
unbelievable.
Something that Lifestealer loves. And he's also a hero that was kind of like Ursa in that he doesn't care about attack speed because he has rage. So that gives bonus attack speed. So he really just wants the damage and then the move speed to combine with like open wounds and rage. So, and I know it's only been 2 days, but he's jumped 7 percentage points in win rate.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit of evidence that he's already back.
And he's naturally good against these tankier strength heroes as well, which are kind of quite common. So synergize is good for him. Obviously, say Wraith King getting 15 doesn't have the same benefits that you see on the Lifestealer, but as a Wraith King fan, I'm very happy to see that. Helps you farm a little bit better, helps you fight a little bit better because you're not as clunky going from hero to hero or in the lane.
You're probably not getting phase boots on him, but
No,
15 is still huge for
it is a decent number, yeah.
just to catch someone that he's stunned. Wraithfire blasted is huge.
And even just farming, just camp to camp, get into fights a bit faster, yeah, a little bit less kiting, just a little bit notch of relevance that I'd like to see. Same with Dragonite as well. I've always found him a bit frustrating because he's really slow, and so if you play him as a mid, it's kind of a bit hard to tempo control because you've got to kind of coordinate as a team and push towers or whatever. But again, little movement speed buff, very welcome change.
It'll be good with his Shadow Blade build, or it's kind of nice to have the 10 movement speed once you go into ult form too. Range.
Yeah.
The Lycan getting 15 seems it's just kind of meh. He's already like super fast in the ult, you know.
That seems that's the least significant because Lycan's not a hero that suffers from getting kited.
But now I feel like he can just skip brown boots. I don't know if he ever did that already, but now I feel like, oh, this guy could. Does he even need brown boots?
You have to get brown boots because you're not in ult form.
He's the way I build him, he's like Helm of the Dome. Rush
you could just
before boots.
But also, this guy's got like 60% win rate every level for the last year or something. I thought it was kind of weird to see him get this outright positive change.
Well, it's because they balance around the pro meta, don't they, more than they do the pub meta. That if a hero's insanely good in the pros, like OD was first ban in Chongqing Major.
Yeah.
But he's not good in pubs. His pub win rate's low. I mean, maybe in Immortal bracket it's high, but it's even then I don't think it's that high.
Immortal bracket PogChamp.
You can kiss goodbye to your Immortal bracket maybe, but we'll get onto that near the end when we talk about our own recalibrations. But a final word on move speed maybe is this move speed is perennially, which is the wrong word, but it's always incredibly underrated. Move speed changes are so big and they're always overlooked. All of these heroes that have 15% move speed increase, it's translated into at least 2% increase in win rate overnight. I mean, Sven 2%, LC 2.5%, Wraith King 2.5%, scaling all the way up to Lifestealer, who's the biggest winner of the patch so far, 7.7% win rate increase. All these heroes, even Lycan, 4.5% increase in win rate. Move speed is so important. It's effectively a 20 movement speed swing from these melee cores to these spellcasters. That's
what allows a Legion commander to catch an Enchantress. Because I played both of them yesterday, and Legion sitting around at a cool 330, faster than Luna too. And then I played an Enchantress game, 318 at level 1. And it's like, what happened? She used to be 335. I mean, I still think Ench is strong this patch, but it does feel it is kind of crazy that Legion's faster. And then with all these ranged heroes, it's kind of just like a blanket thing. All the ranged heroes are over 295, are 5% or 5 movement speed less. So yeah, it's like you said, 20 swing. You do not have to worry about a ranged hero outrunning you anymore as a melee.
One last change before we move on to the items and heroes. Maybe briefly, less gold for melee creeps. There's one less ancient stack. I think it's just a nerf to farming in general. Or some heroes more than others, obviously. Ancient farmers is kind of bad for. Do we think this will have a big change at all? Or?
I saw a video, a DotA 2 Bowie video. He said at 10 minutes, the way the melee creeps are changed results in one less creep wave worth of gold. So there's just less gold on the map at 10 minutes. If you're trying to like get a Midas or a Blink or a Battle Fury, that makes a pretty significant difference.
Yeah.
And then combined with the Ancient changing, along with how the towers, the tier 2s and tier 3s are more powerful, I think we're going to be seeing a slower paced meta game.
Yeah, ever so slightly, yeah.
We're not going to be having like CQ Major, where the average games in groups was like 32 minutes. I feel like we're going to like 38 to 40 minute
quite long
territory. It's just going to take longer for people to come online. And then with it taking longer for people to come online, that's how I kind of was thinking maybe it would trend towards casters. because you can recoup the gold that you lose from not having creeps. You can kill people. So
I think yeah, to extend like slowing the pace of the game ever so slightly is quite a nice welcome change as a refresh to the pro scene. And say the average game goes up from 32 to 35 or 36. I think that's quite nice because the late game aspect of Dota is a huge aspect, right? But we don't want it to be a super rare thing where you get to see late game
scenarios,
matches and scenarios. Like it's a massive chunk of the game that you probably haven't seen that much with this recent fast-paced meta.
What's the key thing about 720 as well is it's not just the average game length. I feel like the variance in game length is low. I have no idea. I have no stats for that. But like you say, I feel like I haven't seen a proper late game of Dota for quite a while. They're all very sort of uniform.
Yeah, it's rare to see a game at 40 minutes that's balanced.
It was just like, win the lane. Okay, I won the lane. Okay, I took the outer tier 1s. Now we can take the tier 2s. Now we go back and get Roshan. Oh, now we take a tier 3 and we take the Rex. It's just kind of...
Yeah, the win condition was the same.
It was almost like the first Roshan resulted in a Rex, kind of. Like in pro. I don't know. It wouldn't even get to a third Rosh because I used my first Rosh to secure the map in the tier 2s. Now I use my second Rosh. Since we have all the map control, now I get a Rax, and now it's insurmountable.
So yeah, maybe I agree as well. The Bowie video is incredible value, but don't get ahead of yourselves. Watch that after you finish this podcast. Come on. But yeah, that's an incredible video. That Saints work. Items. We talked about Vlad's for about 40 minutes last episode.
I know.
And now it's a different item. There's no headdress.
Yeah.
So it's so significant change.
Is it that significant? People are still buying it. I've looked at guides and people are still buying it. Ursa and Troll, some guides I looked at today.
It obviously still is an item. It's just that, and again, the idea of snowballing games and accelerating your advantage and all that, all those aspects have had the foot taken off the pedal a little bit, and this is just another one of them where the item progression has been nerfed. So now, rather than you've now got 500 gold that's not doing anything, it's not a headdress providing value, it's now you've got to get... Oh wait, maybe that doesn't really matter. No, yeah, so the build-up is a bit worse because...
Yeah.
Oh no, the build-up hasn't changed, sorry.
The cost is the same, but you're not getting 525... I mean, not getting a headdress worth of stats and regen.
Okay, yeah, so progression's not changed, but yeah, the actual item at the end point is just objectively worse, okay.
I don't feel like the item is I rushed this before boots now item, like it used to be. Now it's still a nice mid-game item because the regen, like the headdress component was what was really nice for the laning stage. So now you just get the Vlad's outside of the laning stage. It still is doing what you want it to. It's still giving the armor aura and the lifesteal and the bonus damage. I mean, that's still very strong.
Those are the most important parts. The regen is nice for sustain for pushes, but the Bassi part and the team lifesteal part and the bonus damage obviously are probably the most important part.
I'd see them all fairly equal components, to be honest.
Bonus damage and armor is quite, I think, the best parts, but
I don't know. I think with
headdress is a good item, and it's just gone now.
Yeah, so, yeah. Even the armor thing, you could say, if you push in, well, when the enemy team's trying to hold you back and they're throwing spells at you to hold the creep waves and whatnot, that's where the HP regen really helps because the sustain factor, like you say, and the armor factor in this very unique scenario I've just pulled out isn't a factor because it's these spells being thrown. That's like kind of a way I'm seeing it and how I'm seeing headdress kind of equal weighting. But yeah, whatever. Just a general nerf.
And we promised last week that Holy Locket was going to be changed, and it has. Now there is no Void Stone, there is a Mana Orb, whatever it's called. There's a Mana Orb in it.
Arcane Orb?
Yeah.
Arcane. No, that's the...
Energy Booster.
Energy Booster. Arcane Orb's the ODEQ. Yeah.
Yeah, IceFrog definitely got in touch after our last episode.
Yeah, he listened to the pod.
I don't know if it even made it better, is the thing.
I really do.
I think it does, yeah. The fact you can disassemble arcanes is
I
really
feel
nice.
right. So I guess I think it's better for supports. Timber, like the only hero I ever saw build Holy Locket in a pro game with in 720 was Timbersaw, and I feel like this version is worse for Timbersaw because I feel like you want more mana regen from Voidstone for him as opposed to just flat mana. And you were going to disassemble boots for that anyways for like his Bloodstone, right?
I I did well. My initial reaction is that I felt this energy booster change was outright positive for anyone getting it because you can arcane boots and disassemble. An interesting experiment would be to see how much how much mana you regenerate over the 40 or 50-second cooldown of an arcane boots
Right.
versus how much mana you get back. I don't think it would be as much. Plus, your mana pool is more now because you've got the energy booster. And that
Was an energy booster provide 250, and now in the Holy Locket, with the Holy Locket, it's 325. So it's
is that no energy? Oh, is energy booster less?
Energy boost is 250.
Yeah, so you're getting a bonus 75. So it's actually probably, yeah, you're right. It's probably more mana than what you would get off of the Voidstone region. And I do agree that disassembling your arcane boots for Holy Locket, like I can see this being a much more support centric item.
Yeah, I built it today in one of my calibration games.
On what
where
hero?
like it's just actually buildable, like it's actually affordable for a int hero to do. And also, since we said before with the primary stats changes, having less mana on the supports overall, more supports are probably going to build arcane boots anyways. So maybe in the later game, you disassemble your arcane boots in the Holy Locket instead of Aether Lens or something.
I think Voidstone on its own, I think its flat benefit is really, really crap. Maybe I'm too harsh, but I think at any point in the game, the benefit you get from a Voidstone is so little, unless you're like a level 25 Storm. Okay, maybe that adds some decent mana regen, but early game, anyone with a Voidstone is really not going to feel benefit, is my view on the item. Maybe I'm too critical, but yeah, that's my view on it.
When the Voidstone went into Holy Locket, I think it gave 15% mana regen. I think that's what it did. So it wasn't more value. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not super...
I don't know. The thing is, it's really difficult to tell what it will be, how Holy Locket will be changed, because we've hardly seen it, so we don't really have a base thing to base it off.
So maybe IceFrog changed it this way, so now more people will use it, like build it. Maybe he'll actually get some meaningful data now.
Yeah.
Because nobody was buying the item. Maybe he buffed Wisp to such a degree to take it out of Captain's mode because people are going to be buying Holy Locket, and now he gets his data points.
Yeah. So, quick run through of some other item changes. They nerfed the Buckler and Mech armor duration by 10 seconds, which is quite significant, but probably not significant enough to talk about. Bloodthorn, 15-second cooldown now, so it's lower than Orchid. Mildly interesting. E-Blade is 4 seconds. Mildly interesting. Battle Fury, I think this might be in the same video that Adam was talking about, the Bowie video, where he talks about how it's a nerf for heroes with crits that build Battle Fury, Jug and PA. Because now they don't crit off the bonus damage to creeps, so basically it just slows down their farming quite a lot. Or I say quite a lot, but a bit. Doesn't change anti-mage.
It does, yeah. It just it changes the way the spill works, yeah. Instead of critting a creep for 300 and then it cleaves for 500 because of the bonus to the other creeps, now it just does the 300.
I mean, I don't think there's much to say about the items I just mentioned. They're just tweaks. Probably not worthy of discussion.
Bloodthorn is nice because, I mean, originally it was 11 and it got taken to 18 and then no one bought it. And now it's back down to 15. It's actually more usable.
Yeah, I like Bloodthorn. It should be a good item.
It's a good late game item for sure.
Yeah, slight buff is nice to see. The shout out I would give on items, because like you say, they are all quite minor. And then obviously the boots change is the biggest disruption. I really like the Iron Branch cast range change because now you can get some sick plays going in your games. If you're chasing heroes and then you start going through trees and stuff, 400 range, bang a tree in front of them and block the path off. Get ready for some highlight vids when that happens in pro games.
Yeah, that will definitely happen.
That's actually pretty cool because even in the mid lane when you're running into the trees, near the tier 1, say tier 1 Radiant, there's that tree on the left of the tower. Oh, I'm going to retreat down this chokehold. Bam. Put down your Iron Branch from 400 range away.
Yeah. Also, it's a sick. Just run at a hero. If you're a melee core, you need to gap close.
Oh my god, start with 6 Iron Branches and sprout a hero.
Like, no vision. They can't cast spells, no vision. Can't get Hex because you're behind a tree and you're still running at them. 2 Iron Branches in your inventory. Start running at a hero, Iron Branch 400 range in front of you. As you peel around the tree, just plop another one down. They can't. There's no counterplay.
Some big brain play.
That's 200.
I think 6-man branch sprout.
400 range is definitely doable. I mean, 200 range.
200 is
what it was before. It was like
happening.
it was like you could just hit them with your melee ranged attack, basically. 400 is you're a little bit ahead of me. I can drop it down in front of you.
Yeah, even creep in the way and you put it down in the wave, like.
Yeah, let's get. Also, I was just gonna say obviously, like joking around a bit with the Iron Branch to stop vision, but in the early game, I'm talking very first skirmish at the Horn for like bounties. It's very often in games where you're running after a hero as they run back to their tower and they're like, you just need one hit to kill them, but you can't because your move speed's like the same or 5 difference. But there's gonna be situations where you're not in melee range, but you are in range to put a tree in front of them. And then they'll be blocked slightly, and then you'll be able to hit them probably twice.
You'll get them with that little bop, like when somebody's running and a creep wave comes up type thing.
Yeah, spasm a little bit.
That could be a thing.
An important question to this, though, this doesn't matter if it's just one branch play, but if you're looking for like planting a little forest 2-3 tree play, is there a cooldown on planting your branch? Because if that's the case, then less
I don't think there's a cooldown.
Possibility for cool players of banging 3 down at once.
There isn't a cooldown, I don't think.
If there's no cooldown, then
I think they're each separate.
Cool.
So yeah.
Bam, 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 get a little barrier, block someone off, GG. First blood game's won.
Is that a Nature's Prophet nerf because now every hero has Sprout?
I think it is.
every hero has a 300 gold Sprout. 300 gold, all item slots.
Oh, that's why. I've just realised why they changed Nature's Prophet Sprout to give double regen. It's to balance it out, so now every hero Sprout gives double regen.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's stop chatting shit and let's start talking about heroes.
Okay. Before we move on to heroes, Mask of Madness going from 15% to 20% lifesteal. Already seen a couple people build it. Not sure if that's going to be the farm item of choice in this patch. I feel like Maelstrom and Yasha are still probably better.
Yeah, I still think because of the armor, you can't pop it in fights. The lifesteal is nice for when you're rolling through the jungle, but you can't use it in fights. Even if you don't have a spell to cast, you just can't risk. If you're gonna take right clicks, like you can't pop it because of the armor corruption.
Bloodstone, the Blood Pact is I think a pretty big difference. It used to be 60% of your current mana, and now it's 30% of max mana.
Yeah, so you can't pop it if you're low mana.
You can't pop it if you're low mana, but I also feel like it's nowhere near as punishing to pop it normally. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I feel like you usually pop it off when you're running away. So you're likely already cast spells if you're low health. I don't know.
Maybe if you pop it at the beginning of a fight or something, because it's less mana overall. It costs less mana overall.
I hadn't thought about popping it as you go into a fight, because if you only need 70% of your mana pool, you can pop it as you fly in, and then you're going to have crazy regen.
It's definitely interesting. 60% of your current mana, if you're, as like you said, if you had only 10 mana remaining, that's great value from the old Bloodstone. But I mean, I don't really play Bloodstone heroes.
It's worse as an escape, but it's better in a fight. Yeah, as you're running in, yeah.
Drum. I'm pretty intrigued by Drum of Endurance, going from 6 movement speed aura to 20 to yourself only. Now, when you pop it, the active, I mean, your team is still going to get the movement speed bonus.
Does the active give movement speed bonus? Or is it just attack speed?
Attack speed and move speed.
Well, when you pop it?
Yeah, like 13% move speed, I think.
Yeah.
20 is a lot. Like, that's a lot. 20 move speed to just your hero is a lot.
It's a win list, yeah.
6% movement speed on most heroes, though, is roughly 20. So I guess this is still a nerf, but I don't know. It's hard to keep track of all the, like, IceFrog moved from flat move speed, then he changed it to percentages for a lot of items. Now he's moving them all back. So I think maybe you could find a mix of percent move speeds and flat move speed items that could really make yourself fast.
Yeah, there's maths to be done by someone.
Drum with this flat 20 move speed, Drum feels like a razor item to me, even more so than before.
Heroes, hero changes. Marco, do you want to start us off? Any hero that caught your eye more than most out of the hero changes?
So my view on it is I'm really back to the Intel boys, spellcaster boys. I'm glad to see slight buffs to some support kind of heroes. Quite a common change is the mana cost progression of some spells has been improved. So it's rather than some base mana cost across all levels, it's now level 1, it's lower and then builds up, which is just an obvious benefit. Can use more spells. That was seen on Bane, Shadow Demon, Willow, Winter Wyvern. All these heroes had at least one of the spells improved in this manner. It's a tiny tweak, and obviously this patch has got just a lot of small tweaks, but it's one I'm really happy to see from a support POS 5 perspective.
Yeah, more spells is good.
More spells to be casted.
Yeah, I think Shadow Demon got you a bit excited. Soul Catcher, 50 mana at level 1.
I'll start spamming that more. But no, yeah, I'm pleased to see that.
I would just say it's hard to say, though, if he wasn't just made that way because they're going to have less in at the beginning overall.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge how him.
I think it's still a buff because
it's still
a
buff.
Like,
it is, yeah.
It's slightly mitigated.
Net impact, yeah. It's everyone's basically got the net impact weakened from that attribute change, I guess. And then also my other support happiness was from Lion is one of them. This one's I do like the change. So his level 10 talent cast range has been bumped up from 75 to 100. And I know he's got this 90 damage. That's the other option at level 10. I think it's 90, maybe it's 60, which is significant on a position 5. Does help you farm a bit more, make you a bit more relevant in fights. However, I feel like there are sometimes games when you need to fall back on the cast range, maybe if it's a bit of a harder game, and cast range is huge, helps you positioning, etc., get more spells off. Please see that. But then also at level 15, 150 GPM rather than 120, 25% increase there. That's quite sizable, and I'm pretty happy to see that.
More of a choice at level 15 because most lines were just taking Finger of Death damage, especially when it scales.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to get Finger of Death damage. Or it's obviously a very greedy talent choice. Just bumps up your own damage, but are you really the guy that's meant to be output the majority of your team's damage? Probably not. So that's cool. And then the other support that I think has been buffed from the talent change is Kotl getting a 30% XP talent at 10. And obviously we've spoken about how strong having a level 10 XP talent is.
Episode 1, people. XP talents.
Go check that out. That's the main theme of that episode. And so yeah, cool to see that on Kotl. Because I think it is a definite benefit to have an XP talent.
Kotl's a hero that just wanted the levels to begin with.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now you get the XP. I mean, I guess one thing we didn't mention is those mid-game levels, 7 through 12, are more XP to get to. So I guess it's slightly longer for Kotl to get the level 10. But it's just that way for every hero. And then once you get it, the 30% talent, you're going to be power leveling pretty fast. And now at 15, you can get that Will-O-Wisp 1 extra hit, which is pretty huge. or the cast range. I don't know which one you would go with, but it's definitely strong.
Yeah. And Adam, any heroes? Either your heroes that are close to your heart or changes that were particularly interesting for you?
Heroes I thought were interesting.
Yeah, heroes you thought were interesting, or changes that caught your eye, or I know you played a few games
Yeah,
on the patch. Things that you noticed with heroes.
My first go around reading it, I think the hero that caught my eye the most was Night Stalker. He just gets his ags at level 6 now.
Yeah,
which is pretty insane. I mean, he needed quite a bit since Void. His daytime is really bad. Void was nerfed into the ground.
Void in daytime is the worst spell in the game.
I mean, it does half, but it feels really bad to Q. I mean, you can't even CS with it anymore. It does like 40 damage at level 1. So, but I played a game with him yesterday. It went about how I thought it would. I mean, it's like he seems like the classic pub stomp mid game terror hero. Hunter in the Night. So I guess we'll just go over everything. He got his scepter at level 6. That was already a huge part of the hero. Unabated, uninhibited nighttime vision over trees because he flies now in his ult.
Yeah.
So that's obviously just a 4,200 gold item you get for free. It's like that. It's hard to stress how important that was, that you can just see everything. You can do so much more and be so much more aggressive, diving and flying through trees, knowing that people aren't TPing to help. And then Hunter in the Night went from flat move speed, 20, 25, 30, 35 to percentage move speed, 40% at max. And
I mean, also these changes obviously for his other spells, but Crippling Fear is a spell and a half. AoE silence that can't be dispelled unless you literally kill the hero. I mean, that is so good. I can't
Hunter in the
believe
Night
how good that spell is.
It'll make you super fast. In your ult, you're flying through the trees, so no one can get away from you, and you're super fast. And since the new phase boots, changed, it builds in with them super well. It's damage, it's armor, so he's going to have about 11 armor or something.
Yeah.
Diving.
Okay.
And no one can peel off of you because you're hugging. Like I picked Night Stalker, and the other team had a Queen of Pain, a Rubik, a Slark, and a Lion. That was 4 heroes that could not do anything if I was AoE silenced on top of them. They could just had this like run and basically take it.
Yeah. No, Night Stalker's a super interesting hero. What position did you play him in your game?
3. I played him as a 3.
Is that the position?
He's either a 3 or a 4.
Right.
I think.
I'm happy to try Battle Fury Bella, just saying.
You could try it. I feel like he wants. I didn't go. Well, I didn't get a Vlad's. I wouldn't get Vlad's on him though. But I did not get the Vanguard. Probably want a Vanguard. I don't know. He has some pretty supremo talents too. At level 10, you choose between 200 health or 200 mana. I went 200 health, it felt really strong, but also he does run into huge mana problems.
I swear I've never seen Soul Ring built on Night Stalker, but surely that is
that
really
could be pretty
good,
solid,
right?
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why that's not built more often. Is the urn not sufficient for mana? Earning a wand or something? Is that how people do it?
It's not enough. He just has no pull whatsoever. I had phase boots and then spirit vessel,
and your mana starved.
Mana starved, and then I got a radiance because I wanted to, and that also, I mean, it was fun, but probably not optimal. But at level 10, you go 200 health or 200 mana. At level 15, you go 15% lifesteal. That's a new one. I don't think that one's very good. Or 15 strength.
15 strength sounds way better.
That's huge. It's 15 damage and like 300 health now with the strength changes. And then 20, you choose between 50 damage and something else. I don't even. It's not
40
even
movement speed.
That's not even. Yeah, that's not even relevant. You already have phase boots and Hunter in the night. You're actually already max move speed with phase active. So 50 damage is huge. And then I didn't get to level 25, but it's choosing between minus 50 seconds on your ult cooldown or 140 attack speed during the nighttime. Both of those seem pretty strong. Probably just go with the ult because you're be permanently flying and just
permanent flying's pretty cool.
It is fun to transition into DPS builds, get your Desert and Daedalus going or something, and just go douche.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a place in the pro scene. But I worry about him because I think pros can be very good at playing around daytime and nighttime.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, pros are really good at exploiting power spikes, and he has a power spike every 5 minutes, a very, very strong one.
But then he's so weak in the day. So I definitely think he's good enough to play and pick in pubs, though.
Yeah.
He's definitely a hero I'm super excited about.
So I guess I'll go to the hero that's probably one of the most talked about, because I did play a game of him yesterday. IO the Wisp. He's gone. Removed from the game. Well, removed from captain's mode.
He's relocated out of the game right now.
Oh, wow. You've been sitting on that for an hour.
I said I'd not read the patch notes. Read them 2 days ago, and I've been sitting on that for days.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. So, this change, I like it. I like the IO changes for sure. I mean, he seems broken as Ken, but at the moment at least, that's why he's gone from captain's mode. But Overcharge now being a spell rather than a toggle makes him way easier to play, I think, for sure. You don't have to think about your health, you just think about your mana. It's a lot easier. Great to see Relocate back, because it being disrupted as a channel is just a bit disappointing as from a viewing perspective. And also it makes Relocate now is even more skill based than it was before, because you've got to see the fight unfolding a second further in advance. So I think it'll be even more cutthroat in the pro scenes, because they've got to start, if they want to successfully relocate save someone, they need to basically see the fight turning before it does. So that's a cool change. And Overcharge is on a cooldown but insanely buffed. I mean, it's double.
I don't understand why you've doubled the Overcharge attack speed bonus at level 4.
And given 50% bonus to the damage reduction.
And more damage reduction. And IO's no longer losing mana and HP and mana and health every second, but instead throws away 100 mana, which is nothing.
Well, he does have mana problems now.
Does he?
Yeah, I think so.
What, with a mana boots bottle?
Well, you're creaming through your mana, aren't you? Because you're bottling for HP and everything when you fly in. I've watched like 3 IO games and they've all had mana problems.
Really? What?
Yeah, they've been like running around mid game with very low mana, but like varying clarities all game.
Pub or pro?
Pub. Well, I haven't seen any pro games in 721.
I will sack your legend pubs.
I'm not talking about legend pubs. I'm talking about immortal pubs. I'm talking about watch tab games.
Fair.
Regardless.
See, what I like about the IO thing is that when a hero normally gets removed from captain's mode, it's either brand new, so it hasn't been in there yet, or they rework the hero, and so they don't know how good it's going to be. But with this IO change, they just buffed him beyond belief, and it's like, okay, we have to take him out. Like, it's not even a rework; it's just straight buffs to everything.
It is interesting though, because the idea is that Overcharge has been buffed, but the counterbalancing factor is the fact that it's now 8-second duration, so there's 10 seconds of every 18 where IO isn't a hero effectively, and so I think in pro games they would be able to play around that obviously more than pub craps could do. And so if you can play around the IO once Overcharge is used, it's basically this 8-second ultimate, disengage and then go back in this 10-second downtime window, that's in how it's getting balanced. But yeah, on the look of it,
it's like, okay, what you just said, you halved the duration of it, right? 8 seconds and then 18. So 8-second cooldown. So it's about half up, half off.
Yeah.
But they made it twice as good while it's on.
Yeah.
So really, is it that different?
Yeah, it's really good for farming as well. Like I watched 2 IO DotA games yesterday. Not the whole game, but some. You know, these triangle farming locations for DotA. You just overcharge, and there's just with Mask of Madness as well, and it's literally like having 2 moon charges. Like,
I don't get how you double the attack speed bonus level 4. I mean, that really isn't necessary to double what's already a really good spell.
Yeah, it's also better in the laning stage when you're going for kills, because when you're trying to get a kill in the laning stage, it's not a long drawn out engagement where you need to be toggling. The kill window is easily in the overcharge window.
Yeah, or if you relocate in the mid game gank.
And then we haven't even talked about the tether, the biggest quality of life change ever. Don't have to have any missing HP or mana to refill it.
That again makes
that just goes with the overcharge change.
When you TP to lane, you have bottle and fountain heal for a few seconds.
But you could always do that though with the old overcharge. Because you lose 6% when you.
Yeah, but now you don't have to overcharge.
Yeah, it is definitely just easier to.
And then when you're just casually tethered in the lane at full, you don't have to tank any creeps or anything. You just get to sit back and be a ball.
Yeah, the fact you don't have to think about casting overcharge when you need to cast it to give regen, and when you don't need to cast overcharge, definitely simplifies the hero.
Yeah, and also, I think part of the reason he's removed from Captain's Mode, I just think no one at Valve plays IO. So they're like, we're going to change this hero, change overcharge. Does anyone know how it's going to affect the hero? And no one does, because none of them play IO, because it's such a weird hero. That's my theory.
I don't know. I think I saw somebody on Reddit say that IceFrog's wife must love Wisp.
I saw that post as well. I had no idea what they were on about, but it's pretty good. Also, before we move on from IO, Adam and I played a IO CK game yesterday. Do you want to rate my IO performance?
It was like a C.
A C.
it was pretty good in lane. We got some relocates.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You still that mid put when we were all top and you were just mid and died solo to Slardar. That was a oof, I thought.
No, that was a world-class play. Sacrificing myself for a Slardar. We got the kill. Don't know where my team was. I was mid, like kiting a Slardar for like 20 seconds. Wondering where my heroes were. Free Slardar kill mid, boys. He's out of position.
Did you end up winning the game?
No, we lost.
No, we lost. Adam had like 27 kills.
I had 27 kills as CK and we lost. Feels bad.
I had like 30 assists. We had a DotA and a Jug that were combined for what? Like 4-15 or something?
You can't promote that kind of attitude on pod, man.
It was a sad game because we lost. And then the Terrorblade on the other team spammed easy lol, and it just hurt so bad.
27-6. Terrorblade. What, you lose a team fight, lose base or something?
Basically.
It was an RTZ moment at the CQ major. He got the Terrorblade got cliffed, but it was really good.
Yeah, see, I reality rifted and I pulled him, and he went onto the cliff and he just killed everyone.
Yeah, because we had melee heroes. We had a Jug and a CK in the low ground, like trying to hit, and this TV's cliffed himself, just like mashing.
It wasn't even like it was the exact spot where RTZ got cliffed, but it wasn't that upper cliff. There's like a little tiny one to the bottom right of it. Yeah. He got pulled up on that, and I felt so bad because I had reality rift Pierce's spell immune, like I was, and he went the Sunder low cooldown, so he was just like sundering over and over. It was a crazy game.
Yeah,
and I mean, IO seems very strong, and CK seems pretty strong too. Honestly.
Yeah, CK is good. My confidence is rocked after being given a C by Adam. I don't feel like I can play IO ever again. But you can probably play CK again, especially now that, like you say, he is even better. I'm pumped for some CK as well. Talk about Chaos Knight. His passive's a bit weird because they changed it in 720. And now they've changed it again. So its cooldown at level 1 is almost half. It's gone from 7 to 4. Sure, the lifesteal is reduced, but the damage is, well, it's the same at level 1. This is just a straight up straight up buff, right?
Yep. Straight up buff.
I'd be excited to see some more CK, especially in pro games. You feel like you never see him in position 1 CK.
The level 1 strike is basically life stealing for about 30 every time. So every 4 seconds you get a life steal of about 30. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good, really nice trading tool in lane. And then
Also,
with the reality rift slow lasting 1 second longer, you can like chase forever.
Yeah, and also it means if the lane's pushing or if you've got some time, you can farm a large camp or a small camp because of the lifesteal. It is a bit easier. Whereas back in the day, especially with the old one where it was a random chance, it's so rough trying to use such a bad camp farmer. If you didn't proc, you'd like lose quite a lot of HP.
Yeah,
this is just another guarantee. You know what you're going to get because it's on a 4 second cooldown.
Yeah, much better. He's still definitely a max reality rift hero because the cooldown goes from 20 down to 5, and so it's a 5 second rift cooldown with a 3 second slow attached to it.
Yeah, 700 cast range, that's pretty long.
It's quite simple buffs. There's not really any. You wouldn't think there's much to look into. It's just solid buffs for a hero that, in my opinion, needs it. It's one of my favorite heroes, CK.
So and one of the things I forgot, and maybe people don't really know because he really didn't get picked a whole bunch in 720, is that his Phantasm at level 6, he makes 3 illusions all the time now. Yep. They deal less damage. I mean, they scale in damage now as opposed to scaling the number of possible illusions you can make. But you can definitely get some solid kills at level 6. I didn't skill it because I completely forgot about that until level 8. And I pop Phantasm like, whoa, I rolled really high. I got 3 illusions. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Any other heroes we want to shout out?
Another C shout out is the Clockwork Battery Assault change. And another one with the Rocket Flare mana cost is a little bit better. Clock's a hero that doesn't have a great mana pool, so slightly helps him out. Very, very, very minor. But the no cast point is very, very good.
Yeah, that's really cool. I saw that change and was like, man, I want to play some Clock.
Yeah, it helps his chase for sure. There's always the feel bad, like, oh, I need to pop Battery Assault. I'm chasing this guy. But if I pop it, he's going to get just out of range of me.
Yeah.
More times than not, they are able to get away from you because you've got to stand there to cast it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Clock's on the list of cool heroes to try.
Yeah, glad that's changed. Obviously, the Tuskar tag team got seen to as expected. We spent a lot of time talking about Tusk.
Episode 1 for Tusk.
Yeah, episode 1, everybody, Tusk. We spent a long time on him, and now he's... I mean, it's a nerf, but it doesn't kill him in any way.
Doesn't kill him, but level 1, 24 to 15 to 24 is...
That's big.
Sizable.
It is big, but he still gets to do everything he normally does.
He's still a hero. It's just we're not going to see him. Maybe don't see him every single game. Or
he might not be first pick contested in pro, but I guarantee he'll still be picked.
Yeah, he's not in the dustbin, but it's a tweak that...
He's such a cool hero as well. It would have been a tragedy if they just dustbinned him. I was worried that they would.
That's not the way IceFrog does most heroes, except for Medusa this patch. The most nerfed hero of the patch.
Do you think?
You reckon most nerfed?
The talent change on his
talent change, she's just... Her level 20 spike is just gone.
Yeah, and to get to 25 is not an easy.
But with 25, you're not even going to... I was talking to Stan about it, and I was like, oh, well, she'll just take it at 25, and 1,000 will be really nice. And it's like, well, then you don't get split shot modifiers. And it's like, oh, she's actually just dumpster now.
Yeah, split shot modifier is too good, so you just lose the mana talent, basically.
Yeah, you basically just lose 1,500 or 1,300 effective HP.
And you gain minus 4 second Mystic Stick or something.
Which is like nothing because it doesn't matter.
I mean, maybe it was at like a 3 second cooldown. It was like 7 before or something.
11 is what it is at
11?
all levels.
So it goes down to 7? I don't know.
Woo, level 20.
That does nothing because you're going to be in fights. You're going to be losing your mana anyway. So
And Medusa doesn't want to be throwing out snakes. She wants to be right click.
the Medusa talent at 20 is so good. It's one of the few talents that every Dota player knows about. This level 20 Dusa spike of 700 mana is notorious talent.
Do you actually get the Stone Gaze talent at 20 because the Mystic Snake cooldown's not actually that good?
Yeah, probably do get the Stone Gaze talent. Especially because every carry is going to be melee
looking at you,
Yeah.
I would get the Mystic. I'd get the Snake cooldown because the idea being if you cast it more, you're going to get more.
It is good damage.
A little bit over time and do a bit more damage, yeah.
And it is a nice farming tool if you hit creeps that have mana.
Yeah.
Like jungle camps.
Whatever. I mean, it's an underwhelming level 20 either way.
She's also an ancient farmer and there's less ancients.
That's
true.
Like the ancient change mostly hits Terrorblade, Medusa, Drow, and TA.
Luna as well.
I think Luna,
yeah.
TA is bad for TA.
TA lives off of ancients. Drow lives off of ancients. With level 6.
A hero I was pleased about it for is Storm Spirit. That was the one hero that came to my mind about who would benefit from having normal creep rather than ancients.
Yep.
Yeah,
especially with the overcharge damage now.
Because he's not farming ancients ever, unless it's those prowlers and he's level 20.
Slark, worth rest in peace, Slark.
Oh yeah, his win rate's gone to destroyed.
Gone to absolutely destroyed. Yeah.
I think he's nerfed enough to a degree that he won't be around in pubs he won't be the pub stomper.
Yeah, sure. He was. The thing is that I think with Slark, sure he's a pub stomper, but
is he even a pub stomper?
But this is what I was about to say. He's not. He wasn't even that bad. He wasn't even that. He wasn't even that cancerous in pubs.
He consistently got nerfed throughout all of 720.
Yeah, he was so cool in pubs. You were starting to see this mid Slark at CQ Major. It was like really exciting. It's like mid one Slark. It was really cool. And now
I'm just saying he's not going to get picked in pro.
He's not getting picked in pros. No way. Which is a shame because you want every hero to be picked in pros. You want every hero to be viable. Yeah. And this hero now is just bad in pubs and unpickable in pro. So I think Slark.
I don't know why he's justified to get a heavy nerf.
I don't understand because it's a design thing, right? There's no balance reason to remove damage from pounce. So they think it's bad for the design, but I don't understand why they think it's bad for balance. Oh, sorry, I don't know why they think it's a design flaw to have damage on pounce. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just like a straight damage nerf. Like there wasn't anything else to replace it. Just like, nope, it doesn't do damage anymore.
I want to ask a quick question about TA. So this Templar Assassin change, meld debuff, is now applied before the attack damage is reduced by armor. Does that just mean that when you meld strike someone, it's just a damage buff? Because they now have the meld debuff before the damage is done. Because I honestly thought that meld was applied. I thought that was the case anyway.
I honestly thought it was that case before because like when you use a deso, it applies a negative armor debuff before it hits on your first attack. So I just thought it was the same way. So I guess this means now that meld will deal more damage.
Yeah, in effect, yeah.
So it does. That's quite a nice change, surely. I mean, at level 4 meld, 200 bonus damage is now going to be applied to a target with 8 less armor. That's got to be
it's like a minor buff.
Any other heroes we want to give a shout out? Adam, I know you played an Ench game yesterday.
Oh yeah, Enchantress. She, I feel like she's really got a spot. I don't know if it's just because I love her, but she is a little bit slower. But Enchant, I feel like got buffed through the roof. Right now, or I guess before, it was a 55-second cooldown at level 1 for a 3.75 second slow. So basically, it was just like, oh, I have to use this on a creep. It feels like, but now it went from 55 to 22. And sure, it lasts half as long. That's okay because you get to spam it much more. And it's also went from 65 mana to 40 at level 1. So it's super spammable. And now at all levels of enchant, the cooldown is shorter than the creep duration, so you can permanently take something always.
That's good, yeah.
But then what's really crazy is that at level 4 of the spell, it's a 10-second cooldown for an 80-second duration. So it lasts 8 times longer than the cooldown, meaning you can make like a jungle party.
So in theory, you can have 8 creeps.
Yeah, you can have. I guess it's 7 really because
7, realistically.
yeah. But I mean, it always felt bad when it got the double siege wave time. When you would take one siege wave, and you're like, "Oh, creeps, don't kill the second one before I can, kill it or take the second one." But you can take both siege creeps really fast. Enchant also dispels. She hasn't been around for a while, so people might forget that. I feel like with Ursa coming back around, hopefully Enchantress. I always love the Enchantress versus Ursa. It's like if you can't purge off the overpower, then he kills you. But if he overpowers and then you enchant him, you kill him. That's always fun.
Yeah. I haven't got a ton of time, so we'll go to a more personal new season stuff in a sec. I'll just run through some others. But you can get all this news from anywhere. Grimstroke nerfed.
Oh yeah, that was significant. Yeah,
significant nerfs for Grimstroke. Yeah. Do we want to run over them? Don't have to really. They're pretty self-explanatory. He's early game.
His early game continues to get nerfed. I mean, he's still a really great mid game, late game because of BKB piercing leash.
Yes.
The mid game, the Inkswell and the Phantom just continually do less and less damage.
Yeah. The Phantom damage doesn't need to be there, really, in the early game. It's good enough already. The weird latch thing. Ember, slight fist change. That's cool. I like that change.
That's a cool change. The big aspect of Ember's sleight of fist in the early game is that it's this disjoint ability, and you use it in a kind of defensive manner very often. And that aspect to the spell, now you can use it twice as often, is really significant. And then obviously you've got the offensive aspects. But yeah, it's both of those together. A very nice change to see.
Yeah.
Big buff to high level players for sure. Like a mortal bracket, because people would skill it to get a range creep, get that little bit of get a safe CS / also disjoint things. And 30 to 18 is just huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
You get to do that over and over again. So
that's really good to see.
Nyx, a little bit faster, better strength gain, an actual good GPM talent at 10. That's all good to see. Nyx Assassin's a cool hero.
And break on Vendetta, which hasn't really been used because he hasn't been picked.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's something that people forget about. And then you see a Nyx and you're like, wait a second, break?
Yeah.
It's good to see Terrorblade's strength gain slightly reduced because...
Not a fan of TB?
I'm not a fan of TB, no.
He's been around a long time now. He's been in the meta for ages. And it seems like...
Yeah.
It's weird because I feel like he got wrecked in a few patches ago. He got really hurt. Do you remember that? He got destroyed in a patch.
Yeah.
And then he's still good somehow. I guess he's just that strong.
Well, they made Sunder cost mana, and then... They're like, oh, he doesn't have the mana pool to support it. And then they figured out, oh, you don't even go the Sunder cooldown anyways now. You go the meta range.
Yeah, also with Terrorblade, an indication of how good the hero is. I can't think of any other one, apart from a Gyro IO combination, where you would pick up the position 1 first phase picks. Like, Team Liquid would open a Terrorblade, give it on Miracle, say, and that's just... You couldn't do that, and you wouldn't do that on any other position 1.
Even when EG was picking an OD, I mean, that was a mid. I mean, it's picking a really important core, but yeah, usually they keep almost every team does carry in the second phase.
Not TB. Shout out to York Showdown. We started first phase picking TB. and it just steamrolls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a fan, so happy to see that slight nerf.
So we'll just end on some new season chat. I mean, I'm scared of recalibration. I'm 0-2, by the way. So I'm staring
0-2.
down the barrel of...
minus 150 MMR.
Yeah, 150 MMR. I'm going to go from like Ancient 4 to Legend 7, which sounds bizarre to say. Have you seen the 7 stars over the badge marker?
So I've seen someone on my friends list. He's just given me some info actually about his calibration, which is interesting. He's Divine 6 and it looks okay, but then 7 is just going to look way too crowded, surely.
It's weird, yeah. There were Legend 7s in my last game, which was already Among Us-esque. I thought Legend was behind me, but apparently not. And it looked bizarre. There's too many stars going on.
Too many stars.
7, like, what the hell?
So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I need to turn around a 0-2. That's going to be scary.
I don't know if I'm just going to like play Crystal Maiden 10 times and just hope and pray I get carried.
Play CM and Lich like last time when the last recalibration and post recalibration was your finest hour.
Finest month of
climbing, yeah.
Oh, I have the spreadsheet. I can tell you in those calibration games, because I have a spreadsheet of everything from last season. And that was, I started off with a Clockwork, and then I played 9 games of Lich in a row.
Oh, God.
That was my 10 ranked games. And I went...
Like some commitment.
I went 6 and 4. 7 and 3. 7 and 3. Actually, I played Lich a lot. Looks like I played it 17 out of 20 games at the start off the season.
Wow. Oh yeah, and I also get to play the fun... It's always fun to play the game of whether I'll calibrate party or solo first.
Yeah.
Because my party MMR, I haven't played much party since I first started playing Dota about, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then... So my party MMR is like 2,000, which is roughly what my solo was about a year and a half ago, like when I started or whatever. But since then, I've grinded party. I've grinded solo. My solo's at like 4,250 or something. So if I calibrate party first...
And then you join your solos with this Herald rank or whatever.
Yeah, literally, I'll be playing in a solo with Ancients or whatever. Well, that's not guaranteed now. But anyway, let's say Ancients, so then I'll be like a Guardian 5 or something. Yeah, that's always fun.
That would be funny.
Yeah, my party's like 1,800 below or so.
Your solo.
My solo, so it's just going to be in the... Hopefully, I'll be in the Divine bracket still. I mean, I think if I go like 6 and 4 or 5 and 5, I'll cal Divine 1 based off what I've read down from Divine 4. So
that's rough.
It's possible to keep there, but if I do the party calibration first, it's going to say something like Legend 2. I don't even know what it's going to be. But
yeah, you don't want that in your solo cals because people are going to get tilted. Even though it's not rational, they're going to get triggered, and that's
I'm going to have to immediately start off and be like, "Don't worry, guys, this is my party. My party." It's all right.
But people won't be able to compute, and then downhill from there.
Yeah.
So. And then, Marco, you're probably going to have... It's a classic recalibration battle to get back to Immortal, which you usually...
No, yeah. My trend of the last 2 seasons has been don't play solos forever, and then at the point of right near the start of the season or there's 1-2 week period where we go to town, and I think both times it was Divine 3 I started out and then got to Divine 5 rank and then got to the Immortal rank. This season, it'd be interesting. I've got a friend on Steam who said he was 5.4 on the dot, went 7.3 and jumped to 5.7, 4 net wins, 300.
Yes, 75 each. That's about right.
Accurate, yeah. And now he's just gone on, it seems, a 3 win streak, 5.8, and he says 1 more game for Divine 7. So yeah, it's pretty tough to get Immortal. You've got to literally be 6k.
Is it 6k? It's like 5.8 or something.
5.8 for Divine 7.
Oh, really? Okay.
Those calibrations are going to be very nerve-wracking. That's for sure.
I know, right?
It's like if I go 10 and 0, I'm just giving the range. Like if I go 10 and 0, I could probably calibrate Divine 6 or Divine 5. If I go 0 and 10, I could probably calibrate like Ancient 2. Like what?
God.
You know, that's
You have got to get some PMA for those games because they matter so much.
Oh god, imagine if I go like 0-4. That's like
0-2. Ooh, shaky start.
Yeah,
shaky start. Although to be fair, a bit of good news, I suppose, or at least less nerve-wracking news, is that I know a couple of people that played calibrations and their movement equated at just 25 mmR per game, which is what mine was last time I recalibrated. It ended up being literally just 25, but we'll see.
I would take a 5 and 5. I just don't want to like go so negative to put myself in a hole, you know?
I would definitely take a 5 and 5.
Well, yeah, you would.
Yeah. Do we have any? Where do you want to be at the end of this season? Do you care? Or
well, I want to be immortal.
I had my eyes on getting divine, but it's harder now.
Yeah, so for you to get divine, that's hitting 5k. That's a very big benchmark.
Yeah, 5k is hard to come from 4.2, but I was ancient 4, so it's divine 1 seemed close.
Yeah, it wasn't far, but now it is quite far.
But 6 months is a long time, so we'll see. Just need Meepo to get buffed. Lena buff, sure. Give me some of that IceFrog, and then I'll be fine.
So I'm wondering how much DotA I can play next week. I have like a 4-day stint before going away and stuff, and
I'm going to make you listen to this podcast in 6 months' time when the season ends, Marco. What rank are you be happy with in 6 months so we can determine whether you're a failed DotA player or not in 6 months' time?
I think with playing a bit more, I think I could grind up to 6, which would be like a career high.
6k
but I think
would be awesome.
With the time I'm going to have, I'll be able to. And then I guess hard to say rank from there because that's just the first goal.
I think 6k, yeah. I mean, whatever rank that'll be, I don't even know, but getting 6k would be sick.
But ideally, do achieve that in the next month or 2.
And Adam, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, my goal last season was to hit immortal, so that's my goal this season.
The goalposts have just been moved further away.
Yeah, it got moved further away. Yeah, I mean, I went from Ancient 2 to Divine 4 in a season. That's pretty good. I almost got to Immortal, but I'm definitely setting my sights on Immortal this season.
That is honestly a phenomenal climb, though. That's top 0.001% of MMR climbs in a season to go from Ancient 2 to Divine 4.
The thing that makes it so unbelievable for me, that climb, is that it's not... I could believe it if it was like a 14-year-old kid who's just starting Dota and he's like a absolute wizard. Like a Sumail climb. But it's the fact that you've played Dota for like, whatever, 6 years or something, you're reasonably the same MMR the whole time, and then suddenly you just burst from 4k to like 5.5.
How much do you think your game time increased in this climb period relative to just prior to the climb period? Did you play significantly more, or
I just played more solos? I mean,
just
before
more solos rather than party.
Yeah, I was just played party and like would random every game.
I was going to say the removal of the random button's the biggest Adam buff of all time.
Oh my God, yeah.
Stopped getting the buffed random, so I just had to pick heroes every game. And I don't know, I ran them for like 2 years, so basically know how to play every hero.
Yeah, playing more solos is
just gotta grind solo games. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. In 6 months' time, we're going to be Immortal, Divine, and 6k MMR, and we're going to be invited to TI. The podcast is going to be so successful that we're first names on the team sheet of the talent for TI.
Yeah, this is we knew them when. This is what right here. Us calling our shot.
That's the pod goal for sure. So yeah, that just about wraps us up. Quick mention: follow us on Twitter. Say whatever you want at New Meta Podcast. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify. Just search in New Meta Dota 2 and look for the logo made in PowerPoint.
Oh mate, we've got a new sick logo. Shout out to KMM.
Shout out to KMM. Matt, legend designer.
Bringing the talent.
Mega shout out to Matt, because our logo is no longer something I made in PowerPoint. It's now something that he made in PowerPoint, so that's really big.
It looks better.
So yeah. Thanks, and hopefully tomorrow another pod. See you then.
Bye.